Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and yes, this is news and politics for November the 22nd, I believe. Yeah, Wednesday, November the 22nd, 2023. Now, first thing we're getting into here, propagandist politicians. This is from Mediaite. House Democrat given brutal fact check on Israel by MSNBC's Ali Velshi and others. Representative Richie Torres, Democrat for New York, received a brutal fact check from MSNBC anchor Ali Velshi and others after he claimed checkpoints that separate Muslims and Jews in Israel are as fictional as Jewish space lasers. Remember, that's the quote from Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know, the whole thing about space lasers, Jewish space lasers. It's like, seriously? After Torres' New York colleague, Representative Jamal Bowman, also a Democrat from New York, told MSNBC, myself as a sitting member of Congress could not walk through certain checkpoints in the West Bank because I wasn't Jewish. Torres tweeted out to him, Jewish checkpoints are as fictional as Jewish space lasers. Torres proceeded to be fact-checked by several social media users, including Velshi, who told Torres that he himself was stopped at one and not allowed to proceed because I am Muslim, while his wife, who is Jewish, was allowed to pass. So, to this comment by Richie Torres, Jewish checkpoints are as fictional as Jewish space lasers, Amidar replies, huh? I'm an Israeli and you are wrong. Now, this has nothing to do with religion per se. The Arab and the Jew could both be Buddhist, but they will absolutely be separated at the checkpoint. And he was also replied to by Peter Beinart. Would love to know about his experience when he visited Shushada Street, pointing out specifically a checkpoint. And then Ali Velshi replies to him, they are not Richie Tory. I was stopped at one and not allowed to proceed because I am Muslim. My wife, who is Jewish, was allowed to pass. In another post, Velshi added, I was one of those people separated from my Jewish wife because I am Muslim and prevented from visiting the tomb of the patriarchs arbitrarily. Anyone who thinks there isn't apartheid in the West Bank need only go to Hebron. That's exactly how apartheid worked. Representative Mark Pocan, Democrat of Wisconsin, tweeted, I was with Jamal Bowman of New York in Israel, Palestine a few years back. We weren't allowed through a checkpoint in Hebron. Very young men with guns asked if we were Jewish or Muslim, tense as they refused to answer questions. Guessing kids with guns as security is a bad idea, period. True. Meanwhile, a J Street president, Jeremy Ben-Ami, weighed in. I led the trip with Jamal Bowman of New York. It's a fact. There are checkpoints in Hebron where security separates who can walk where by religion. Other checkpoints keep roads sterile of Palestinians. I've been there dozens of times. Join me. After Ben Ami added, if a member of Congress could travel numerous times to Israel and the West Bank and return with the impression that there are no restrictions on Palestinian movement, but the real issue is that Jews are prohibited from Area A by the IDF, they should ask about the trip's sponsor for a refund. Torres proceeded to get into a spat with him. And in a since deleted post, Torres replied, I never said there were no restrictions in Palestinian movement, nor did I say that the real issue of the Jew is that Jews are prohibited from Area A. I simply said I have never seen signage restricting areas to Jews only. If the purpose of your trip is to incite hatred for Israel, you're surely succeeding. Ben Ami snapped back, how dare you accuse me of inciting hatred for Israel? My great-grandparents founded Petah Tikva. My grandparents, Tel Aviv. My father and father-in-law fought to create the state. I lost friends October 7th. My family is called up. Security with guns, not signs, enforce these restrictions. Over the past few months, Torres has repeatedly found himself in conflict with his Democratic colleagues, including Representatives Ilhan Omar, Democrat of Minnesota, Representative Rashida Tlaib, Democrat of Minnesota, and Representative Cori Bush, Democrat of Missouri, over the issue of Israel and Palestine. So yeah, one of these trying to cover Israel's tail end. He's like, people are proving how big of a liar and idiot he actually is. This also from Mediaite. House Republican praises Argentina for allegedly having only one race. And we're not talking about political races here. We're talking racism and racial issues. U.S. Representative Maria Elvira Salazar, Republican of Florida, held Argentina for supposedly being a completely homogenous nation with only one culture, one religion, and only one race. Salazar, who is of Cuban descent, made the comments in a Spanish language video supporting Javier Milei before he was elected president of the South American country. This was Argentina, I believe, he was elected. Yeah. Este domingo los argentinos podrán elegir, may just be elegir, entre el socialismo y la libertad. Espero que no se equivoquen. Milei is a right-wing libertarian and former television pundit who calls himself an anarcho-capitalist, according to NBC News. He was elected president last weekend and drew praise from some U.S. Republican politicians, including Senator Mike Lee, Republican of Utah, Representative Mike Collins, Republican of Georgia, House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Mike McCall, Republican of Texas, former President Donald Trump, and other MAGA acolytes. NBC reported on Salazar's comments, which were translated from Spanish to English. We want it to be one of the best countries in the world because it's what they deserve. A country that has everything. It has soy, it has meat, it has minerals, it has land, it has water, and it has only one culture, one religion, and only one race. Completely homogenous. Homogeneity is not necessarily a good thing unless it's dealing with milk. The misconception of Argentina as predominantly white and Catholic lasted through most of the 20th century, according to Oscar Chamosa, an associate history professor at the University of Georgia. Chamosa told NBC News that large numbers of people identify as indigenous and Afro-descendant immigrants from other South American countries, particularly Bolivia and Paraguay. Paraguay. Despite the fact, Chamosa added that the official Argentine censuses do not account. Argentine censuses do not account for race. In a statement, Jose Munoz, a spokesman for the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, said Salazar's comments praising the notion of advancing a society with a single culture, race, and religion are antithetical to our own American values. Salazar's spokesperson responded to criticism of her comments by stating Argentines were united as one people against the failures of communism. She did not directly address why Salazar used the words she did, according to NBC News. Yeah, America's supposed to be a great melting pot. It's not really a melting pot, it's a patchwork. Or probably even more properly used, a plate of food where you've got a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. Do they intermingle a little bit? Sure, but usually they're in their own places. But yeah, that's one religion, one race, one culture. You know, what's supposed to make America great is we've got multiple. Guess what? Argentina, indigenous peoples. Africans brought over as slaves. And of course, the rule of Spain, so it had white Europeans who lived in Argentina as well. But, you know, she thinks apparently that's not a good thing. This is from the AP. U.S. egg producers conspired to fix prices from 2004 to 2008, a federal jury rules. So, yeah. Court case, and it's like, yeah, you all did conspire to drive up egg prices. Even now, these companies do this kind of thing. We know they don't care about what should be the right thing to do. But they've conspired together to help each other press up prices so they can make better profits. Which most of them are used in stock buybacks. That's something that needs to be fucking banned. Ban stock buybacks. AP, Democrats who swept Moms for Liberty off a school board fight superintendent's $700,000 exit deal. Pennsylvania school board that banned books, pride flags, and transgender athletes slipped a last-minute item into their final meeting before leaving office hastily, awarding a $700,000 exit package to the superintendent who supported their agenda. Wow, that is some cheap ass bullshit. But the Democratic majority that swept the conservative Moms for Liberty slate out of the office hopes to block the unusual, they say illegal, payout and bring calm to the Central Bucks School District, whose affluent suburbs and bucolic farms near Philadelphia have been roiled by infighting since the 2020 pandemic. People are really sick of the embarrassing meetings, the vitriol. They're tired of our district being in the news for all the wrong reasons, and the students are aware of what's going on, particularly our LGBTQ students and their friends and allies. The district, with about 17,000 students in 23 schools, has spent $1.5 million on legal and public relations fees with competing lawsuits, discrimination complaints, and investigations in the past 2 years, including a pending suit over its suspension of a middle school teacher who supported LGBTQ and other marginalized students. And of course, the evil ones want to slip at least you helped us, little payment into a leaving superintendent. The fuck is... Yeah, don't ever give me their conservative, they're better with... No, they're bribery. This is a story from the New Republic. The red state brain drain isn't coming, it's happening right now. As conservative states wage local culture war, college-educated workers, physicians, teachers, professors, and more are packing their bags. On Memorial Day weekend in 2022, Kate Arnold and her wife, Carolyn Flint, flew from Oklahoma City to Cabo San Lucas for a little R&R. They had 5 kids, the youngest of them, 5-year-old twin girls, and demanding jobs as obstetrician gynecologist. The stresses of all this were mounting. That they were a gay married couple living in a red, socially conservative state was the least of it. Caroline was born in Tulsa, spent much of her childhood in Oklahoma, and was educated at the University of Oklahoma. She cast her first presidential vote for George W. Bush. Kate, the more political of the two, was from Northern California and a lifelong Democrat. But her mother was born in Oklahoma City and she felt it at home there. She'd been given some thought to running for the state legislature. Stop. Stop. I don't care. Go away. Yeah. Close. No. Stop it. Stop it. A little more than 1 week earlier, a disturbed high school student named Salvador Ramos had entered Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, with an AR-15 rifle and killed 19 children and 2 adults, injuring 17 more. It was the deadliest school shooting since the Sandy Hook massacre of 2012. And it happened just one state over, as Kate and Caroline's 2 youngest were about to start school. 2 more mass shootings occurred in Oklahoma while they were in Cabo. A man named Michael Lewis gunned down with an AR-15 2 doctors, a receptionist, and a patient at the Tulsa offices of his orthopedic surgeon because he was angry that his recent back surgery left him in pain. Then a man named Skylar Buckner killed 1 person and injured 7 others at a Memorial Day festival in Taft, Oklahoma. States with permissive gun laws have a higher rate of mass shootings in Oklahoma, with some of the most permissive gun laws in the country, has 45% more gun deaths per capita than the national average, higher even than in Texas. Yeah, I mean, when you make laws that hurt people, people move, especially if they do not feel safe there, and a lot of them are going to be very intelligent people. Think about it. This is often why your red states get treated as if they're like, I like to kill people with my gun. I'm gonna fight them. Hold on. I'm gonna fight them liberals. Probably still couldn't see, but I was trying to cross my eyes. You know, and this is exactly why they're treated this way. You have no problem with laws being pushed in that force people who are more educated, more intelligent to go. And it leaves a severe lack of intelligence in your state. This is from The Advocate. Mike Johnson says he wanted to revisit Supreme Court decision that legalized gay sex. I hate you. He's such a horrible, horrible human being. Mike Johnson, the new Speaker of the House, voiced support for revisiting Supreme Court decisions that struck down restrictions on the use of contraception, barred bans on gay sex, and legalized same-sex marriage, according to CNN review of his prior public statements. So, you're not for individual freedom. You're for restricting the rights of others. Okay. This is from Technology Networks. Higher cognitive ability linked to fighting against Brexit, study finds. So yeah, it was the big right-wing movement in the UK to have the UK walk away from the European Union. You know, Britain exit, Brexit. I guarantee you, other right-wing movements, you'll find, if you analyzed it, that you'll see very similar statistics that many who vote for right-wing ideologies often have lower cognitive ability. I guess, except I don't care. Dozens.com. 40-year-old single mother aims to beat Putin in presidential race. Yekaterina Dontsova, a 40-year-old single mother and journalist from the Tver region, has announced her candidacy for the Russian presidency. This move comes as President Vladimir Putin has yet to formally declare his intention to run for re-election next year. Dontsova's entry into the political arena represents a significant shift from the norm, as she brings a unique perspective as a mother, a journalist, and a local political figure. According to the Moscow Times, Dontsova's decision to run is driven by her love for Russia and her desire to see it become a thriving, democratic, and peaceful state. Why did I make this decision? I love our country. I want Russia to be a thriving, democratic, and peaceful state. But right now, our country is moving in a completely different direction. Yeah. I mean, you have the madman in control there, Vladimir Putin. It's clear as a bell. It's headed towards a violent, authoritarian situation. Now, these are some videos. Israeli soldiers detain a 2-year-old Palestinian child.
ולא מבין.
والله
תביא אותו שאני מחכה, מה קורה, מה אתה חושב, אתה ילד תבחש? מה יצלך?
תמסך صور
תעזוב את הילד, תעזוב אותו, תעזוב את הילד, תעזוב אותו. חלאס יאללה, חלאס. תראה.
Yeah, like I said, Israel's quickly cut a lot of sympathy for itself with its behavior. How will the European Union ever talk about human rights or international law again?
People of Europe know that Israel is committing war crimes, and they know they're doing so with the complicity and support of a European Union How are they ever going to talk about law and order, human rights, humanitarian law, international law again when they are supporting Israeli war crimes? How are they going to do it? The people of Europe are shocked. They're taken to the streets in their millions. There have been millions of people on the streets of Europe horrified at the genocide, the ethnic cleansing taking place against the people of Palestine. But the colonialists are standing together. The white race, the North Americans, the Europeans, the UK, they're standing together with the colonialist Israel. And they say that the lives of Palestinians matter. But they obviously don't. They don't care about the Palestinians. That's why they don't want a ceasefire. Because if you cared about the fact that there was 5,000 children dead and 3,000 women dead, if you thought that that was not nice and that was bad, wouldn't you call for a ceasefire? Because if you don't call for a ceasefire, it means you're happy for the atrocities to continue. Israel is a far-right, lawless, apartheid regime, and they have the unconditional support of the European Union. What happened to our European values? What were those values? What are those values? What are they going to be in the future? The people of Europe and America, they have to challenge their political class and their elites more and more and pressure them, force them to actually show some humanity and show some respect for the people of Palestine who have been slaughtered by this Israeli regime. It's just too bad.
Yep. I've already pointed out in a video how majority of Americans want a ceasefire, but politicians and stuff are so bought off by these lobbying groups, AIPAC, J Street. They don't care. It's like you support Israel or you get kicked out of office. And no, that's unfucking acceptable. That is called interfering in elections. Because you've got money and you're willing to use it to attack politicians instead of making a clear point of, you know, I am for the betterment. No, you're for making the world worse. Because you just want people to accept Israel and that's it. Hell, you don't even want them to accept it. You want them to kiss Israel's ass and lick their butthole clean. Anyway, final video here. AIPAC is planning on spending $100 million in order to meddle in our elections. Everything Democrats claimed Russia was doing, meddling in our elections, is actually true of Israel. So yeah, remember the Russiagate bullshit? Israel actually is meddling in elections.
AIPAC is planning on spending $100 million in order to unseat people in Congress who are critical of the genocide of the Palestinian people. Pro-Israeli legislation often passes with around 95 to 99% Congress support. Despite this, Israel and AIPAC is still not satisfied. AIPAC wants no dissent. AIPAC is very proud with how they interfere in our elections. According to their website, 98% of AIPAC-backed candidates won their general election. They spent over $17 million. They also brag about defeating 13 candidates who would have undermined the U.S.-Israel relationship. How is any of this legal? Remember all the shitlibs who pushed Russiagate, who used to claim that Russia was undermining our elections? That's exactly what Israel and AIPAC is. AIPAC have been targeting members of the Black Congressional Caucus for years now over very mild statements critical of Israel. I cannot stress enough that many of these Black Congressional Caucus sellouts are pro-Israel. They are just not pro-Israel enough. And despite their own members being targeted by AIPAC, being funneled by Republican mega donors, Democrats stay silent and complicit with this. Where is the DCCC? The job of the DCCC is to protect incumbent Democrats unless Israel targets them. The United States is now a democracy. It's a capitalist dictatorship, and we have Zionist capitalists that are currently dictating our policies.
Yeah, I mean, they love spending that big money. AIPAC, J Street, Ameripac, NORPAC. Think of how many lobbying organizations there are that is like, come on, suck Israel's balls. It's fucking ridiculous. But, you know, they're big money. Gotta suck them balls to get that money, baby. Fucking hate the interference from these lobbying groups. Anyway, let's end this episode here. As always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting my links in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all on the next one. Until then, later.